Having signs declaring your bees in an apiary is a legal requirement in France, and I think that's actually a really good thing. Because it kind of declares that you are keeping bees there, so it's more of a warning to the public to just kind of be aware, to keep away. The other thing is, this is my living, this is a profession, and you should respect that. And I have now got 13 apiaries dotted around the place, and I've got signs in every apiary except one this year where I had a couple of hives stolen, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I think it just kind of makes the point that, you know, you're professional and you're not messing around, and this is where you make your money and you depend on that. And I think the other reason that it's good to have signs is if someone's coming past and they want to get in contact with you because they might have seen someone acting suspicious, or they might be a friend, or they might be the landowner, or they might see a swarm hanging off a tree. You know, and it'll do you a favour if you get that call to say, oh, by the way, I don't know you, but I've just seen your apiary and you've got a huge swarm hanging off a tree. You will be forever grateful for that, because you cannot be there 365, 24/7. So you need to mark your apiaries properly. That's my opinion. And how you do it, it's difficult, because whatever you put in there, the environment is going to get to it. The weather is going to eventually dull those signs down. You can buy plastic, ready-made signs that says bees, and then you put your beekeeping number underneath. And everyone in France, by the way, has a beekeeping number, a registration number. But what I do is I make my own signs, and I'll show you what I do and how I do it. So these are the letters and numbers that I've collected over the last few years from my local garage. And believe it or not, they're absolutely perfect for marking your apiaries, because you can get a plywood board like this, and you can stick the numbers and letters on, and what I do is I actually staple them on after I've stuck them down, so they just will not budge. I staple them with stainless steel staples, and I cover that board with a sheet of plastic to keep the weather off, and then that board is then fixed to an acacia stake, so that it basically never rots, and that sign will last 10 years at least in my apiaries. What I like about these is these letters are a complete byproduct of the automotive industry. When you get your registration plaque done in France, and I don't know if it's the same in the UK, I don't know if it's the same in America, or wherever else you are listening, these numbers used to pop out of your registration, numbers and letters, and they're a byproduct. They're basically waste. So I got my garage to save me. I mean, he used to throw thousands away, and it's like on a plate, it's 3 numbers and letters that will never rot. They're aluminium, and they've got a coating of the same reflective paint on that you get on signposts. So I keep these, and to me, these are like gold dust. But unfortunately, where we are, they don't use them anymore because they cost too much, and they've managed to find a better way of making the same numbers with the same effect. All they get now is a small piece of plastic in the shape of these letters. So basically, they're non-usable anymore. You can't use them anymore. So I managed to save a load. I think there's still a couple of garages around here still use them, but I pop in every now and again and collect a few letters and numbers. But what I've actually done is I've sorted the numbers out into bags so that I've got them more easily. Just trying to find them in this lot is a nightmare. But it works for me. I think it's a really good thing to mark your apiaries. So I did say that I had most of my apiaries marked. Well, this year I didn't have one particular apiary marked because I thought it was a pretty safe one. And 3 hives were stolen one afternoon in July when I was just finishing the honey harvest. I hadn't been to that apiary for 3 weeks. But it wasn't well kept, and it wasn't well maintained, and it wasn't marked well because I had only a few hives there. And it's the kind of thing you do. You think, well, I'll leave it. I know it was actually really near my house, and you would never expect people to steal things from it. But the long and short of it was, I think because it was in a state and because it wasn't numbered and marked, I think it was more opportunist. So I'm just thinking, well, it's probably my own fault, and I'm going to learn from that. So these 2 signs were going to 2 new apiaries and 1 more for the one that wasn't marked. So it kind of makes the point that if you're going to do things, you should do it properly. And I just believe you should do this. I just think it's a good thing. But whatever you put in your apiary, Try and get something that's A, is going to be seen well, and B, that will last over the years. There's no point in putting a sign that is painted on, like, you know, hand painted, daubed on a bit of wood. That ain't going to do anything for you, and it's going to be finished in less than a year. And when I put these signs in, I put them actually in front of the bees. I don't put them like attracting people to the bees. Oh, so for instance, you have to walk 10 meters up to your bees and they're around the corner. I don't put the sign 10 meters away. I put the sign right in front of my bees so that people coming past wouldn't necessarily notice them, but if they come into the actual apiary area, then they see my sign and they see my beehives at the same time. So what I'm saying is, don't obviously advertise the fact you've got bees there, but put it amongst, or nearly amongst your hives, so that the sign can be read without having to go too close, but far enough inside the apiary to keep out of sight, out of mind. I just think it's only fair, and you're giving people that warning. So these are the kind of jobs that I do over the winter, and now we're just finishing up washing everything up, the feeders, the last top feeders and round feeders, they're all now stacked up, and the queen excluders. This is the kind of thing I do, and it gives you a chance to reflect, as I said before, and think about what you're going to do, and think about how you're going to organise apiaries, and get ready for next year, because this is all part of your winter preparation. It's all those jobs that you've been meaning to do that are on that list that's like 30 foot long, and you start knocking them out and you start getting those done. Now, I've still got loads and loads of things to do. Tonight I'll finish these. That's when another 4 signs done. I'll do 4 of these so that I've got 2 spare for next year when I put 2 new apiaries in. Try and get your organising done. That's what I've done. And if I don't get organised, I just feel so far behind before you even start. So it's a good thing. Be well.